women's gymnastics. She and partner Brian Ginsberg teamed up to claim the gold medal in this uniquely formatted event. For Christy Phillips, it was her second gold medal in a week. She had just won her first American Cup, and clinching the mixed pairs proved she was no fluke. Brian Ginsberg had finished last year's American Cup with a silver medal. He wanted a gold in the mixed pairs more than Christy. His wish came true. They're paired again today. They both won gold at the '87 American Cup. History might repeat itself. It's an international field, but the stiffest competition might come from teammates Phoebe Mills and Olympic gold medalist Scott Johnson. Mills has beaten Christy Phillips before and wants to do it again. Today might be her day. Partner Scott Johnson brings a wealth of international experience with him into the meet. At the '87 American Cup, Scott finished a disappointing third. On the gymnastics calendar, the American Cup is the first big international meet of the year. The Soviet Union has sent 14-year-old Olga Strajeva to compete at the American Cup. She finished with a silver medal. Strajeva executed tumbling moves that have never been performed by a female gymnast in the sport. She has teamed up with 20-year-old Vladimir Gogoladze. He too finished with a silver medal in the American Cup, clinched the high bar event with this 9/8 routine. There are 20 countries represented in this meet. The international foreign policy of gymnastics is being established. ESPN, the Total Sports Network, presents international gymnastics from the Scope Arena in Norfolk, Virginia. It's the 1987 McDonald's International Mixed Pairs Championship. This international gymnastics meet is brought to you by McDonald's. It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's. Welcome to the Scope Arena, where several thousand gymnastic fans are about to get their money's worth. Not only do we have intense international competition, but we also have more of a fun format. The format is called mixed pairs, and by that we mean the men's score and the women's score will be combined, and the two together will determine who gets the gold medal. Hello everyone, I'm Leandra Riley, and welcome to this international competition. We have a strong field, over 20 countries represented, and the favorite might have to be considered from the Soviet Union. Although interestingly enough, the gold medal team from the Soviet Union that won it last year is not here this year. They have sent a new team, as you saw in our opening, Strajeva and Gogoladze. Those are the tandem from the Soviet Union. They've got to be considered very, very strong. But right now, let me introduce you to Olympic gold medalist Mary Lou Retton, along with Peter Vidmar. Mary Lou, let's talk about the U.S. hopefuls, though. I said the Soviets are very strong. I know you've been keeping your eye on Phoebe Mills and Scott Johnson.
I feel we have a very strong couple right here. We have one, Scott Johnson, a veteran in the sport of gymnastics, has much experience, and Phoebe Mills, a newcomer to the sport. She's a dynamo. Keep your eye on her. I feel that it's going to be close, top three.
All right, let's put the ball in Peter Vidmar's court. Peter, you two are an Olympic gold medalist from 1984. You have competed with these gymnasts. You have seen Christy Phillips and you have seen Brian Ginsberg. They're both very, very strong.
And they're both coming off American Cup victories. I remember when Mary Lou won the American Cup and I won the American Cup, we went on to win the mixed pairs. So we could say they're the favorites, but I remember one of the years when I was paired up with Mary Lou after we both won, I made a little mistake, and so we didn't win. So any little mistake could make the difference, and we'll just have to wait and see.
And sometimes you have to place the blame on your partner, not necessarily what you do, but what the guy you're teamed with does. When we come back, we'll see how our teams do. International gymnastics coming up. Welcome back to the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs, and while our gymnasts are warming up, let us quickly explain the rules to you about this international competition. Again, the men's and women's score will be combined. Each gymnast has been assigned a partner. If the top 6 gymnasts that have the best combined score will advance to the second round, of that, they will show their second routine, and only the top 3 gymnasts will advance to the third round. Each duet or tandem gets to compete on 3 apparatuses only. That's it. And so they're allowed to choose. So Peter Vidmar, let me ask you first. With 3 apparatus out of 6 for men, I, as a layman, would say, I don't think we're going to see a lot of pommel horse. What do you think we'll see a little of today?
Well, actually, I think that the level of pommel horse has improved internationally, and I noticed that there's a lot of gymnasts that have chosen to do pommel horse. The one event we don't see a lot of is vaulting, which is very unusual, except for the fact that they've changed the rules on vaulting, and now it's more difficult to get a good score, and so that's why they don't want to do vaulting.
And since the scores are so important to advance to the next rounds, where we could see our best performances first, just so that people ensure themselves the rights of surviving. Mary Lou Retton, if I was going to guess on the women's side, I would think we wouldn't see a lot of balance beam routines.
You might be surprised how many balance beam routines you would see here tonight. If I were competing, I would not pick balance beam because it's a very pressure event, and it's either a make or break deal. If you fall, that's exactly 5/10 taken off of your total. But I think we're going to see a lot of balance beam routines.
All right, so Mary Lou Retton, if you were competing, no balance beam for you, obviously leaving you with the other three. In women's gymnastics, there are 4 events. They are the balance beam, as Mary Lou had mentioned, floor exercise, the uneven parallel bars, and vaulting. Now, for the sake of setting up the apparatus, the women, if they do elect to vault, must vault in the first round. The men, because they have to turn the horse lengthwise, will be doing all their vaulting in the second round. But that's strictly an equipment restriction in this competition. Again, it is combined scores. So let's go to our first competitor. She is from Hungary, Henrietta Onodi. And she is a young lady from Hungary. She is just 13 years of age. She is coached by Mihaly Unbatiensky. Obviously, she's on the uneven parallel bars. And she is still chalking up in preparation for her routine. She will perform first. When she lands, we will immediately see her partner perform. He is going to go on the high bar, and then their combined scores will be shown to you. So it doesn't really matter how well you do as an individual. It depends on how you do as a team.
I was amazed at how tiny she was. It's hard for a person this small to work bars because you have to show the extension, and she's doing a very good job. Nice release move. She's running very smoothly. Notice her handstands are in straight body position, casted with straight arms. Giant full pirouette. Another giant. And a nice double flyaway, stick landing.
Henrietta Onodi from Hungary, a fine performance.
Now remember, we will not flash the score.
They are not going to show her score. We are instead going to go over to the high bar where Csaba Fajkus is getting ready to mount.
He is a junior European champion, also from Hungary. This is
You can see on the graphic he was a junior European champion on the horizontal bar in the USA versus Hungary meet in Hungary. He finished second in the all-around competition.
I saw him earlier in warm-ups do an incredible skill. It's called a Gänger, but as he comes around to catch the bar, he does it with one hand. And that's just wild. It's incredible that someone can have that grip strength. Here's a one-arm giant. There's a one-arm Gänger. Oh, it didn't even catch the bar. Ooh, that's a long drop. He did it fine in warm-ups, but he didn't make it in the competition.
And unfortunately, that's where it counts, and this will virtually eliminate the team from Hungary. We have approximately 17 pairs in this international meet, and only 6 will survive to the next round.
Well, that sure does make for a short evening when you only do one routine.
19 years old.
Here's another one-arm giant. And he's trying it again, and he caught it. Look at that. I respect that. He said, look, I didn't make it that one time. I'm just going to do it again.
Now, he did that in a mixed pairs meet. Would that fly in the Olympics, let's say, repeating the move?
Well, I think it would. I think that he just wanted to prove to himself that he can do it. At that point, when you fall off the bar, it doesn't really matter. You're not going to win, so why not try it? It's good experience for him. Here's his dismount. A double twisting double back flip. Took a big step there, but that's a very tough dismount.
Well, true to what both of you said in the opening of our telecast, he's going for the risk factor, giving it all, and the women seem to be playing a little bit more conservatively, at least after one performance. So Csaba Fajkus a little bit disappointed, peeling off on the Gänger, but it was a one-arm Gänger, if that's any consolation, which certainly makes it more difficult.
That's right. In fact, one of the gentlemen that is judging him right now is Eberhard Gänger, who invented the trick. Now here's his one-arm giant. He lets go to do the flyaway with a half turn and totally misses the bar and lands on his back. And so he said, hey, I'm going to try that again. Well, here's his front flip from inverted giants. Does it very, very well. He's got a lot of release tricks in that routine.
There will be a draw, and we'll have a 5 or 10 minute break while that draw goes on to determine the order of competition for round 2.
And there's a disappointed Fajkus from Hungary. Now let's go back to the uneven parallel bars, and this is Henrietta Onodi.
And this is her dismount. Watch how high and extended and a perfect landing.
And she's got to be disappointed. Here she threw a nice set, but it doesn't matter.
It's a little upsetting when you do well and then your partner has a fall. There's nothing you can do about it. It's like you're helpless.
And the score
But I
now
suppose that's true in the team competition in the Olympics or the duet competition here in these mixed pairs.
Yeah, unfortunately, you only get one chance.
Baikus received an 8.75. His partner, Onodi, received a 9.75. 18.50 is their total. So that is not probably good enough to get them into the second round. When we come back, we will continue with our coverage of the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs. Stay with us here in Norfolk, Virginia. We are back at the Scope Arena, and already we have seen in the men's competition a horizontal bar routine, a floor exercise routine, and we are about to see a ring routine from Brian Ginsberg. On the women's side of the competition, we have already seen an uneven parallel bar routine. We have already seen a vaulter, and right now Christy Phillips is getting ready to execute a vault as well. So vaulting seems to be a very popular event, but as I said in the beginning of the telecast, if the women wanted to vault, they had to do so in the first round because they have to turn the horse lengthwise for the men, who must vault in the second round. As I said, this is Christy Phillips, and nobody knows more about her than Mary Lou Retton.
This is one of Christy's events that she has improved so much on. I've watched Christy grow on the event of vaulting. And the vault that she's going to perform today is the round-off back handspring approach, which is becoming very popular with the gymnasts.
Christy Phillips is coached by your former coach, Bella Caroli, who also coached Nadia Comaneci.
And she just did one heck of a vault, a round-off back handspring approach with a layout full twist at the end of it. It was beautiful. Let's watch this one again.
Sukahara with a full twist.
A little difference in the power of her run. She's really coming down the runway strong, and this is slow motion.
Yes. Watch the round-off, and watch the placement of the hands from the back handspring. Good placement, straight body, legs together, and a great landing for Christy.
If your camera is a type where the flash goes off on its own, please put your finger or a handkerchief over it if you would. No flash photography.
Christy is 14 years of age. In a few weeks, she'll be turning 15, which puts her old enough to be on the senior team.
The first one was better. She overdid it a little bit and had to take the big step backwards, so I'm sure she's going to take the score on the first vault.
It's always nice to have the first one be a good one, though, isn't it?
The pressure's off, yes.
Originally from Mobile, Alabama.
And, of course, that's very different for men's gymnastics because you do not execute two vaults in your
You know what, sometimes I don't think it's fair either.
But Brian agrees with you, and he's not vaulting. He's decided to go on the rings.
That's right. This is a very strong event for Brian. You know, Brian's small. He's little, and he's very powerful. And this is a good event for him.
And he's being helped up by Abby Grossfeld, the 1984 Olympic coach.
That's right. Does it dislocate? Shoot down to an iron crossed. He pulls out of it. Little unsteady as he lowered into that cross. It was a nice plan. Just for Brian is really, really strong. Back up rise to another straddle flange. And a shoot to a handstand. Brian has really improved his overall gymnastics. Dismount, giant dislocate, double layout, and he sticks it. Very, very nice routine. Nice way to get started for Brian.
An excellent way to get started. We've just been informed that Christy Phillips has received a 9.85 for her vault. It's too bad Brian didn't know that up. That would have taken some of the heat off of him.
Yeah, I think he just wants to do a good job, and he should get a good score from that.
We should add that the scores are cumulative. Even though he'll get into the second round, he needs a good score.
That's right. And here's his dismount, double layout, and look at the landing. This is all important. Lands it just right.
They need the best numbers they can get because the rounds carry over, and it's a combined total that'll win a gold medal as we look at Christy's second vault.
I was very impressed by Christy's vaulting today. Good placement of the hands, proper push off the horse, straight body, and a great landing. Well, that's the one with the big step. The first one was better.
This was the second, and as you said, it wouldn't be scored as high. She received a 9.85 for that first vault that she saw earlier. As Brian Ginsberg moves over to congratulate his teammate, and they're looking very strong going into the second round.
They're smart. They pick some real strong events to start off with, and that should put them right into the next round.
They both have won the American Cup in 1987, and they're starting off the season very strong. Their combined total, 19.5. Brian received a 9.65 for his half of the show. So the 9.85 and the 9.65 added together put them in first place with a total of 19.50. It's a nice, comfortable lead as they will definitely be heading into that second round. And right now we are looking at a young and soulful face from China, Jiang Wei. And she is teamed up with Huang Wo-Fu. And like Christy Phillips, she too has elected to vault.
And she too also does the round-off back handspring approach with a nice layout, perfect landing.
Jiang Wei is 19 years of age. She is just 5 feet tall and weighs 97 pounds.
Let's watch it from a different angle. Let's watch it from behind. You have to start the round off a little before the board, the back handspring and the layout, perfect landing. Her feet did not budge. Let's watch it one more time. Watch how high she is above the horse. It's a little arched, but she pulls it around for a great landing.
No surprise that her favorite event is vaulting, but in her spare time, she likes to knit. She is coached by Deng Ronggan and has been in the sport for 13 years, started at age 6.
Beautiful vault. She did the round off back handspring layout one more time. I thought maybe since she stuck the first one, she might add a twist, but she wanted to stay conservative and just did the layout.
And we are moving now to the floor exercise for her partner, Huang Wo-Fu. He is 23 years old. He is 5 feet 2 inches tall and weighs 119 pounds.
I've competed with Huang Wo-Fu for many, many years before I decided to hang up my grips, as Scott Johnson was saying earlier. He's a very powerful tumbler. Look at this double layout. Beautiful.
And it was up there in the rafters. That was very high. Huang Wo-Fu likes to play football in his spare time.
I think that means soccer. There's a layout with a triple twist. Boy, is he powerful.
We know it means soccer.
There's a nice spindled flare and a little breakdancing move. I wonder where you got that from. I think you got that from the Americans.
It says here, Beijing Institute for Physical Education. I don't know.
Nice press to a handstand. A little differently. Put his legs together. Usually they just straddle their legs. His corner moves aren't really very graceful in some cases, but he's a very powerful tumbler, and this is what really matters in men's floor exercise. I heard a little ding. Means he's only got a few more seconds left to finish his routine. Run off back handspring, double back flip. Look at that landing.
Huang Wo-Fu.
This first pass is really powerful. It's a double back flip, but with the body straight, double layout. Run off back handspring, and here it goes. Really done nicely. He had power to spare as he moves into the corner. And didn't look like he lost much energy towards the end. He does a double back flip, and gets nice and high, and he really zeroes in for that landing. There it is, double back. And he sticks it. Good routine. That should get a good score and put them into the next round.
Let's take another look at Jiang Wei on the vaulting apparatus. This is her second vault.
First round is her favorite event.
The round off back handspring was perfect around the horse. She got great height and looked for that landing and stuck it cold.
So a strong performance from the team from China, Jiang Wei and Huang Wo-Fu. 9.7 for a total of 19.25. And that's good enough right now to put them into the finals, but still coming up, the team from the Soviet Union. All of the standings could change. We'll have these messages before we come back. Welcome back to our international gymnastics competition. The team from Japan is about to compete. The young lady, Maiko Moriso, is going to compete on the floor exercise, and her male counterpart will compete on the rings. Maiko Morio is 19 years of age, and she is coached by Hideo Katake.
Maiko Morio from Japan.
I'd compete against Maiko many times here in the United States and in her country, Japan. As tiny as she may be, she's a veteran in the sport.
She has quite a bit of international experience, been in the Japan Championships, the Seoul Asian Games. She has been in the American Cup since 1984.
Full in back somersault for her mount. She over-rotated a little bit and took a step and went out of bounds. Getting into the corner for her second pass, trying to breathe, save some energy. She still has her dismount to go too. Round off flip-flop, double pike somersault. Better landing than the beginning. And her dismount comes relatively fast after the second pass. Just quite different. Usually you have more dance in between. And another back somersault. Didn't have the energy to pull it around, and she landed a little forward. That's going to cost her.
Maiko Morio from Japan, just 19 years of age.
Her partner is 24 years old, and he is.
Let's take another look at her first pass.
This is Kazuki Tsuda.
She does the round off flip-flop full in back somersault. She over-rotates it a little bit. You can even tell her hands were still on her knees as she was landing.
And now let's move over to the rings for her partner, Kazuki Tsuda, 24 years old.
When I was a freshman at UCLA, a group of promising high school Japanese gymnasts came over to give some exhibitions to compete with us, and one of them was Kazuki Tsuda. He's really gone a long ways. I was impressed with his gymnastics then. This isn't a really strong event for him, but it's a very consistent event. 2 back giants. Giant dislocate and a double layout. Not a super powerful routine, but it was consistent. Tsuda's coached by Masayuki Watanabe, who was in charge of the junior boys program in the United States for many years, and he moved back to Japan. Here's his dismount. Giant dislocate, and here's a double layout, but he tucks his knees in at the end, so it's really not a complete double layout. Watch his knees tuck in right about there. He tucks the knees in.
And as we move back to the floor exercise apparatus, we take a look at Maiko Morio's routine.
And we're showing her dismount pass. You can tell she was a little low, and her head almost even hit the floor, so she had a little break at the end of her routine.
I found myself gasping at every tumbling pass because she was so low. And that hurts, and not just physically if you fall, obviously, but certainly hurts in the score. The judges are really looking for a lot of height.
Oh, definitely, especially in the tumbling passes and throughout the whole floor routine. You need the proper amplitude.
The combined total for the team from Japan is 18.65. Right now, that doesn't look like it's going to be strong enough to get him into the second round, but we'll have more on that after this. Mary Lou Retton, Peter Vidmar, I'm Leander Riley, and we are at the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs Competition, where the Soviet Union is about to compete. Olga Strajeva is going to vault. Vladimir Gogoladze is going to compete on the rings. Young Miss Strajeva is a student from the Ukraine. She finished second in the all-around at the 1986 Spartacade. She finished second in the American Cup just a few days ago. And just like the young lady we saw who liked the Three Musketeers, she has a vice. Strajeva likes to eat ice cream, but she only weighs 83 pounds, so she keeps that in check. Her mother is a bookkeeper. Her father works as a metal engineer. And at 4 feet 6 inches tall, she can do a lot on the vault before she gets over the horse.
She is powerful. She also does the round-off flip-flop approach into a beautiful layout with a full twist. The execution of the Soviet gymnasts are always perfected. Let's watch it again. Watch the execution in the full twist. Out of the flip-flop, great height, pointed toes, legs together. Took a little hop to the left, but I'm sure she's going to try to stick the second one. Let's watch it from the back. It's so important, the placement of the hands from the round-off to the back handspring. Just right in the middle of the horse. Beautiful execution. And you can see the little left hop.
When we're talking deductions on a hop like that, about how much is it?
I would say a 10th. And a much better landing on the second ball.
Olga Strajeva.
Comes from the southern Soviet Union in a beautiful place called Tbilisi, and this is his second visit to the United
Vladimir
States.
Gogoladze is going to compete on the rings. He is 20 years old.
Gogoladze on still rings.
He is 5 feet 6 inches tall and weighs 137 pounds. And like Wade Boggs of baseball fame, he likes chicken.
I think that the Soviets sent him here simply because they think he's going to be one of their top gymnasts. He's really excellent gymnast. Has a back roll to an iron cross. He's only 20 years old. He's very powerful. Most of the young gymnasts still struggle a little bit with strength. Gogoladze is very strong. Places each move. Forward roll into a hollow back.
He seems so deliberate in his performance.
Very deliberate. Back giant, back giant. Now he gets ready for his dismount. Whoop. Now he fell out of that handstand, so this is a little bit awkward. That's going to be a bit of a deduction for him. Took a little hop on the dismount. That was a mistake.
And the judges knew it was a mistake because you pointed it out, so there's no faking it.
Vladimir is the current Soviet.
And he was a little bit off there. I thought he was going to do his dismount. He did the giant dislocate. And watch this. He kind of fell out of that handstand. He meant to be more deliberate there. We'll see how much the judges hit him for it.
Some of the pressure has been taken off. This young lady, Olga Strajeva, has received a 9.9 for her second vault. So let's see what his total is. Let's take another look at that second vault.
It was a beauty.
Find the 1/10 deduction for me.
4'6".
She does great repulsion. I think it's on the landing. The little rebound.
Bunny hop.
Yes.
Even for Easter, you're not allowed. Now, her vault was worth a 9.9. Conversely, Christy Phillips received a 9.85 for her vault. So these two are still neck and neck. But it doesn't matter. It's a combined total of the female gymnast with the male gymnast that counts. The top 6 get into the next round. And we've just been told that Vladimir Gogoladze got a 9.7. So their combined total, according to my math, is 19.60. You see, they put up there 19.6. And that right now is good enough for first place because Christy Phillips and Brian Ginsberg have a 19.50. When we come back, we have more gymnasts from the USA to come. Stay with us here in Norfolk, Virginia.
This is Nicoletta Desena.
Welcome back to the Scope Arena, where our international gymnastics competition continues. These are the mixed pairs first round of elimination. 6 will survive to the second, and then 3 pairs will survive to the third and final round. This is Jennifer Say. She is 18 years of age. And earlier, Mary Lou Retton had a chance to talk to her. She spoke of the 85 World Championships, its experience, and its impact on her in 87 and its World Championships.
Well, I was extremely nervous. It was my first major international competition. It was actually one of my first international competitions ever. And I was new to the U.S. team. So it was hard for me handling that. And I think now I'll be a lot more used to the position as a national team member, and I'll be able to handle the pressure better. I was having a good competition. But I'll be a little more used to the pressure now, and I should be able to do a little bit better.
6-0, that's 18.4 combined score. At the vault, we have the United States.
Jennifer has had some difficulty with injuries lately. The past couple years, it just seems that one comes right after another. But vaulting is not one of Jennifer's better events. But she has improved on it, and she too, like many other gymnasts, is going to do the round-off back handspring approach. It's the round-off back handspring and a nice layout. She went a little hard for it and had a bad landing. She took a hop and a couple steps. It's going to cost her. She's going to want to concentrate on the landing on the second ball. Let's watch it one more time. See exactly what she did wrong. She had fairly good placement on the horse. She was a little arched, and she piked it down, which caused her to go back with the hop and the steps.
Jennifer Say is teamed with Raul Torres Menendez of Cuba. And there are a lot of those situations in this international competition where there are not enough partners from one country. They've internationally mixed them, literally. So she is matched with a male gymnast from Cuba. She waits to execute her second vault.
I'm sure Jennifer's going, stick the landing. That's what she should be concentrating on. Let's see if she does it. The round off, the flip-flop, and the layout. She took a big step, but it was much better than the second vault, than the first vault.
Jennifer is the current United States women's champion, and her partner is from Cuba.
Jennifer Say completing her first round of competition. She's just 5 feet 2 inches tall. As we look now at her partner, Raul Torres Menendez, who is coached by Rene Rivero.
Torres Menendez is a young gymnast, but he's got a beautiful body line, nice toe point. He's very tall, and that really is the best for horizontal bar. He almost scrapes the floor at the bottom. There's a one-arm, 1.5 twisting Ganger. That's incredible. Good gymnast. This is nice. And just inverted giants. There's another one-arm giant. I'm really impressed with his body line. He's nice and lean. Ooh, just barely caught that. He's having some form breaks, but he's kind of in the Cuban tradition of doing those real wild tricks. And a full twist and double layout, and he sticks it. A nice routine.
Well, Jennifer looks happy with that performance. Raul Torres Menendez of Cuba.
Now, as I said earlier, Ganger, the man that invented the trick, is actually judging horizontal bar right now, and this is a nice little 1.5 twisting Ganger from a one-arm giant. Shows you how much these elements have changed just over the last few years. Now here's his dismount. It's a full twisting double layout, and that all-important landing is right on target.
If your shower curtain was strong enough at home and you could just let go with one hand and re-grasp with one hand, I think a lot of people would have a lot more appreciation for the strength of one arm in this
really
gymnastics
incredible.
competition.
I remember when I was learning these things, it was tough.
This is Jennifer Say back on the vault.
This is her second vault, much better than the first. She still has the little pike down, which causes her to take a big step back, but it's much better.
19.1 is their total, which may or may not be good enough to get them into the final round. Our top two scores are 19.6 and 19.5, held by the Soviets, and then Christy Phillips and Brian Ginsberg. And then we have a slew of 19s. They may or may not get into the finals. Right now, you are looking at a young lady from Romania, Augustina Badia. She is about to compete on the floor exercise event. And she is just 15 years of age, and she is a high school freshman.
I was talking to the Romanian coach earlier, Belu, who's a good friend of my former coach, Bella, and she's one of the newer gymnasts that they're trying to push forward. Starts in with a nice full-in back somersault. She's happy about that one.
Ah, I see essence of Nadia here.
Yes, same Nadia style. Except Nadia didn't smile that much. She's a charmer. Triple full. Yes, they're clapping in. Triple full, she had a little form break, but she made it around. She's a very good dancer for being so young.
At the 1986 Nationals, she finished second all around, and in 1986 at the Moscow News, she finished second all around.
Getting a little breather in before her dismount. Round off flip-flop, double back somersault, little low. She took it back instead of up. But a nice finish.
Augustina Badia, on her first visit to the United States, she wowed the crowd here at the Scope Arena.
Our next competitor in the second half of this great mixed pair is the current national champion of Romania in men's competition, a college freshman, 20-year-old.
Her partner is Marian Rizan, and he is the first man we are going to see compete on the pommel horse.
He's their 1986 national champion. Pommel horse is an unusual event to start, just like vaulting, as I said. It's a tough event, but he works backwards lengthwise across the horse, and then he goes forward again. This is really a hard routine. Good toe point, a little bit piked into circles, though. Those are some Durham elements, where he's kind of turning on the other axis. Really tough.
Rizan is 20 years of age and a college freshman.
A lot of nice flare work. Really has everything in that routine. The only thing is that he just swings a little bit pike. He's not real extended, and that could be the only thing that they really deduct.
And when you say pike, that's bent at the hip.
At the hips. He's not.
It should be completely laid out.
That's right. You want to swing just like a stick. You want to imagine that your hips don't bend. Now here's his flare work. He travels across the horse without touching the pommels, then back into the pommels, and back down to the center of the horse again. This is a tough sequence. This has really made pommel horse exciting to him. Doing all this flare work has really been neat for pommel horse.
So Augustina Badia and Marian Rizan move to get their scores. We take another look at Badia's floor exercise routine.
Watch how she takes double back flip back instead of up. Causes her to fall forward a little bit and take the step.
Scores are coming
So a little
up.
too much distance covered on that double somersault.
Yes, it was. It should have went up.
9.70 for his partner, Augustina Badia, and the total is 19.30.
The 19.30 may be enough to bump Jennifer Say and her partner, Raul Torres Menendez, out of the finals. Right now we have the Soviet Union, the USA, and this team from Romania. Looks like they will all advance. Those are our top three scores. Right now we are waiting for Phoebe Mills and Scott Johnson to compete. You are looking now at Phoebe Mills. And she too is coached by Bella Caroli, as was Mary Lou Retton and Nadia Comaneci, and of course Christy Phillips. So he has already established in the 80s himself as the coach of women's gymnastics internationally. Earlier, Mary Lou Retton spoke with Phoebe Mills and asked her what she does to prepare for a meet, both nationally and internationally.
Well, internationally, when you go out into competition, you just have to go through all your routines and stick them the best you can. There's no room for any errors.
Phoebe Mills, 14 years of age, from Highland Park, Illinois, only 4 feet 6 inches tall.
Now ready to continue our
And like
competition.
Christy, Phoebe has improved tremendously on the vault. They were great gymnasts on all three other events, but the weakness was vault, and it's really becoming a strong point for her.
Why? What are they doing differently?
They're using the round-off flip-flop approach with the layout. Good vault, is a little forward, and I'm sure she's going to put more power into the second one.
Was that something that their coach addressed and said, hey, you guys have got to beef up the vaulting here, or is it because they changed the style of vault that was more suited to their body?
Both. Definitely, they were good gymnasts on all three events other than vault, and they would just be totally wiped out of the competition because the vault scores were low nines, and they needed the high nines. And I feel that this round-off flip-flop approach suits their body very well.
I'm saying this because it was the vault that won you the gold medal.
Yes.
So vaulting is emphasized at Caroli's.
Yes. Let's watch the end of this vault and see what Phoebe did wrong. She had good placement on the horse, straight body. She just opened up a little bit. She should have kept it, pulled it around a little. She does a round off, flip flop, higher. Beautiful landing. Phoebe was ready for that one.
A I should emphasize, in the United States, Bella Caroli is not the only coach. There are many, many outstanding coaches of women's gymnastics. It's just that right now he happens to have two on top.
Two hot ones.
And we just saw Jennifer Say a few moments ago, and she is coached by Bill and Donna Strauss, the Parkettes Club.
Very good school in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
So you don't have to go to Houston to be a good gymnast necessarily. Let's look now at the partner of Phoebe Mills while we wait for her vaulting score. Your former teammate, Scott Johnson.
That's right. In fact, Scott joined my ranks by getting married just about 10 months ago. So
he's no longer eligible, ladies. Is that what you're trying to say?
That's right. He's very strong on rings, and this is the event he chose to go up first. And I think in my mixed pairs competitions, I chose rings many times to go up first.
Well, he said it's his favorite, so. Again, being helped up by A.B. Grossfeld.
This is a pull through an inverted hang, a kip to a Maltese cross. That's beautiful. Scott's very powerful.
Scott's 25 years old, 5 feet 3 inches tall, and weighs 125 pounds.
So far, Scott hasn't made a mistake. This has been a very solid routine. It was a good event for him in the American Cup, too. Giant dislocate. Giant to a handstand.
Seems to be arching a little bit.
And back up rise. Back up rise. This is a strong routine for Scott. Now all he has to do is do that dismount. And it's a piked half and half out. Lands really high, but took a little hop back. It looks like he almost had too much energy at the end.
That's kind of a non-committal applause from Phoebe Mills.
He'll get a good score on that. Scott does a pike half in, half out for his dismount, and he lands very, very high up. He's not real low to the ground. He gets a lot of amplitude. And look at that. It's a good routine for Scott. He should be pleased with that.
And let's take another look at Phoebe's second vault. Good placement of the hands. Look how high. This is one of the highest vaults I've ever seen Phoebe do. Just a little hop on the ending. She should score well.
So Phoebe Mills waiting for her score along with Scott Johnson, who's now moved over to the scoring area. Scott Johnson, when he's not walking down the aisle to get married, enjoys hunting and fishing and being outside. There you see the score, 19.70. And that puts them in first place, ahead of the Soviet Union, ahead of Christy Phillips and Brian Ginsburg. Our new leaders so far are Phoebe Mills and Scott Johnson. We'll be back. Round 2 coming up after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, look to the vaults.
Been tabulated. We can now tell you the top 6 pairs that will advance to the next round. Phoebe Mills and Scott Johnson are in first place with a 19.70. These numbers are important because it is a cumulative total. In second place, a tandem from the Soviet Union, followed by Christy Phillips and Brian Ginsburg, 1/10 separating places 1, 2, and 3. The bottom 3 are from Romania, China, and the combination team of Jennifer Say and Raul Torres Menendez finished in 6th place by virtue of a higher individual score. There was originally a tie at 19.1. It was broken by virtue of the higher individual score. But let's compare something interesting in the women's vault competition. We saw a lot of gymnasts execute, in essence, the same vault. So we thought, Mary Lou, it would be nice for you to compare side by side 2 identical vaults. We happened to pick the 2 gymnasts who were your former teammates, Phoebe Mills and Christy Phillips. Phillips on the left, Phoebe Mills on the right. And let's contrast that round-off layout vault.
Okay, let's see Christy's vault first. She has the good approach, the round-off flip-flop. She twists a little off of the horse, which doesn't go as high. And a good landing for Christy.
9.85 was the score for that vault.
And now Phoebe, she too has a good round-off flip-flop approach. Both have good hand placement, but Phoebe hits it up a little more and goes a little bit higher than Christy did, and that's where I feel is the 0.05 of a point, 10th difference.
And that's what it was, 9.9 for Christy Phillips, for Phoebe Mills. Christy Phillips getting the 9.85, but none of that matters. It's a combined total that counts. And right now in first place is Phoebe Mills with her partner Scott Johnson with 19.7, followed by the Soviet Union team of Strajeva and Gogoladze. And then Christy Phillips' team is in third. We'll be back with round 2, but first this. Welcome back to the Scope Arena, where our coverage of the international mixed pairs continues. Only 6 pairs have advanced, eliminating 17 down to 6. 11 have been eliminated. And our top ones include competitors from the Soviet Union, Romania, and China, plus 3 from the United States. Of course, one of those 3 is a combination country of the USA and Cuba. Our first competitors are from the Union of the Soviet Socialist Republic. This is Olga Strazheva. You saw her earlier in the competition, and now she is ready to compete on the floor exercise routine. Strazheva vaulted in the first round, and she is elected to do floor exercise in the second round. Remember, this is optional. They choose the apparatus that they want to do.
And she has got one unique routine coming up. You must not miss the first pass of Olga's. Usually, gymnasts prefer back tumbling, but not Olga. She prefers the front tumbling. Watch this. Handspring bounder, handspring double front somersault into a forward roll. Is a little low.
And out of bounds.
And she tumbles out of it though. Flip flop, flip flop. One and a half. First pass went out of bounds. It's going to hurt her. They are such great dancers. Amplitude of every leap and jump to the maximum. For her second pass, it's round off flip-flop, whip back flip-flop, double back somersault. Very good, very high. You watch, they are always on their toes, every point they can be. Ballet is a very important part of women's gymnastics, as it is in men. And let's see if she will end either with a full in back somersault or just with the double back. Run looks powerful. And just a double back somersault. Very good routine.
She's very disappointed in what happened in that first tumbling pass after the double front somersault, which is the unique move that we have not seen in this country before, executed by a woman, I should add. She really rolled strongly off the mat, severely out of bounds. It was more than a mere brush with the boundary line. Right now, Vladimir Gogoladze, who has already competed on the rings, is now going to go on the parallel bars.
I noticed that he had some problems with his hands earlier. I saw the trainer shaving off part of a callus. I think he tore a blister on the horizontal bar in warm-ups. And that doesn't sit too well on parallel bars when you're using your hands a lot. Oops, made a mistake there. That was a Healy twirl. Didn't quite catch his hand properly. That's a mistake that really could cost him quite a bit. That's an innovative Healy twirl with his legs straddled. It's a nice little change of pace on parallel bars. It's difficult to be creative here.
At first I thought it was a mistake, but then you can see that.
Yeah, that certainly wasn't. The very beginning was a mistake, however, and that's going to cost him. Nice two back tosses in a handstand. Very nice. Double pike. Look at that landing. Just a perfect landing. He finished strong, but that mistake's going to hurt him.
Vladimir Gogoladze studies economics in the Soviet Union. 5 feet 6 inches tall.
That's the same thing I studied at UCLA. Okay, let's see where he made the mistake. There's a glide kip. Swing up to a handstand. Now here's this Healy twirl. He rotates in one arm and he just doesn't catch his hand right. And so he had to buckle his arms just to regain his balance.
And how severe of a penalty is that? Is that a major break?
That's a major break, yes. Now here's a beautiful dismount. He does a double back in a pike position and his landing is absolutely perfect.
So Vladimir Gogoladze and Olga Strazheva, less than exemplary performances in their second rotation. We have seen them perform better. And the interesting thing about the Soviet Union, as we said, this is not the mixed pair that they sent last year who won the gold medal. Their depth is so strong in the Soviet Union. Let's take another look at that front tumbling pass.
It's the front handspring, front bounder, into a double front somersault. You can tell how low she lands, and she's kind of crunched, goes out of bounds. And that's really going to cost her.
The only way for her to really come out of that double front is into a forward roll. Now their combined total is 38.55. That's after 2 rounds.
Soviet team now has a total of 38 points.
We've got about 18.95 for this particular rotation because they brought in a 19.6. 18.95 is not exactly a shining score when you contrast it to their 19.6. Now we are ready for the team from Romania. This is Augustina Badia. Last time she competed in the Florex, she's on the uneven now.
She's doing well. Jaeger flip, nice high. Her form could be better. She doesn't really extend as straight as she should. Giant full, very nice. Into a double flyaway, little step sideways, but a very nice routine.
Augustina Badia. She is teamed with Marian Rizan. They're from Romania. Badia, 15 years of age.
Augustina is certainly enjoying her first visit to the United States.
Marian Rizan is 20 years of age. At the 1986 Nationals, he finished in first place. At the 1984 Championships, he was second on the parallel bars, which is the apparatus that he has now elected to compete. We saw him on the pommel horse in the last rotation, parallel bars in this rotation.
Parallel bars is one of those events that, believe it or not, tends to be consistent, and that's why these gymnasts are choosing this. A lot of gymnasts have chosen to do parallel bars. Oh, it's a nice giant with a full twist at the top. That's a really difficult element. Little break in the form, though. There's a Diamidov, not too good a form. A giant with a half turn. There's a peach basket, and there's a break. He's kind of walking all over the bars there. Not very good performances on parallel bars so far.
Not very good performances in the second rotation so far.
That's right. There's a double back flip, and takes a step. That's not going to get a very good score.
Although there's something we should keep in mind here. Everybody got to pick their strongest and best event first. So we are going to see somewhat of a deterioration as the performances go on.
Yeah, but hopefully,
not this much, huh?
If the guys have 6 events to do, that you hope they wouldn't go too far downhill after one. Because these are some really good gymnasts. And he does some very excellent elements. He is very, very good here.
That's a good point.
That's a very, very tough routine. But he just made mistakes, and those things happen. Here's the end of his routine. He does a double back flip. Here's his back tosses. A little crooked on him, but these are done well. Here's his double back. Looks like he's going to stick it, and then he takes a step.
Now the team from Romania is in 4th place after one rotation as we take another look at Augustina Badia's uneven routine.
A great dismount. She does a giant full pirouette into a double flyaway. She takes the little step forward.
Just the scores will be posted.
Now they brought a 19.3 into this rotation. That was good enough for 4th place. That kept them 0.3 of a point out of first place, 19.6 being the first place score. But the Soviets really opened up the door by scoring an 18.95 on their second rotation for a combined total of 38.55. So 38.55 is what they're trying to beat right now. And it's a tense moment because he had some major breaks in his routine, as did the Soviet Union. And we're having a judges conference over the men's parallel bar score.
Leander, as I was saying earlier, I really think that sometimes these gymnasts will go into a competition like this and really just say, hey, I'm going to go for it. I'm just going to go for a big trick.
All right, I have got to ask you a point since we have a little break in the action. Peter Vidmar, you two competed together. Mary Lou Retton and Peter Vidmar were a mixed pairs combination. And Bella Caroli was your coach for a day, Peter Vidmar. What was that like?
Well, I'd say I'm glad it was only for a day. I had to compete I competed with my coach, Mako Sakamoto, in the American Cup. He had to go back to the States, so Bella took over the coaching responsibilities for a night. And I was ready to throw some new tricks and do some new things, and he looked up to me and said, are you ready? And I said, well, I look like I'm ready, I feel like I'm ready, I guess so. I think I'm going to try a new trick. He says, no, don't do it. Just be consistent. And so he was very concerned about my performance as much as he was for Mary Lou.
All work and no play. 38.2. The Romanians are in second. We'll be back with China and the USA. Stay with us here in Norfolk, Virginia.
Of course.
Zhang Wei from China is about to compete on the uneven parallel bars. The team from China is currently in 5th place with a 19.25 after one rotation. To recap the standings, the Soviets are still in first, despite their bobble with a 38.55. The Romanians are in second with a 38.20. And, of course, the other 4 teams have yet to compete.
The Chinese usually have a very good reputation for bars. They have good executed handstands. Nice Delchev. She's swinging very good. Little stop in that handstand. It should have been more smooth. Hip cast handstand. Free hip circle. Giant circle, reverse hex. Oh, she had it. She looks like she just let go of the bar.
And again, we're seeing second round jitters. The Soviets, who are usually so stoic in their performances, had some bobbles, both the man and the woman. The Romanian male had trouble with his P-bar routine, and now the Chinese females having trouble with their uneven parallel bar routine.
She had the move. It looked like she just let go of it. She's got to be disappointed.
And right now, we do not have a clear-cut leader then in this second round.
Decided to choose vault for this second round. So we'll see what
Wang Wo-Fu vaulting.
Wang Wo-Fu is a very powerful vaulter. One thing that's tough on the guys is that they only get one chance. If they make a mistake, tough luck. You don't get a chance to do a second vault. And you see a lot of round-off vaults for the women, but you don't see that for the men because it's been outlawed. The men are not allowed to do a round-off vault. Ti Hongqing, who was the American Cup champion last year from the Soviet Union, really started working on it, and then they said, no, you can't do it. Too dangerous.
Too dangerous. Was that?
Oh, there's a nice handspring front, 1.5 twist, but he took that hot court and put his hands down. There's a lot of mistakes in this round.
Getting back to Ti Hongqing, who also won the mixed pairs as well as the American Cup last year. In the men's vaulting, why is it more dangerous for the men than it is for the women?
Well, because see how the horse is so narrow when you vault lengthwise. If your hands are just a little bit wide, you can land on your head on the horse and really suffer a serious injury. So they just said, look, guys, let's not do it. Let's just stick to the ones you're doing and do some good vaults there. And look, he really doesn't get enough rotation there, stumbles a lot and puts his hands forward, and that's a big deduction. We'll take a look at it from a better angle here.
What caused the problem?
Well, he's got real good heel drive and pretty good power, but when you're spinning 1.5 times, sometimes that can really kill your rotation if you don't do it right. And he just stumbled.
Didn't seem to have enough height.
It's a really tough vault. Vaulting, as I said, has become more difficult. The judges make it really tough on you.
Let's take another look at her reverse hecht. She had it. It was a great release move. She goes very high. She catches it, and she just lets go down at the bottom.
Zhang Wei, 5 feet tall, has a lot of international experience, so it's not like it's jitters that might have taken over her.
First round is 37.6.
37.6 is the total. 1835 was their score for this round, and you add it to their 19.25. That's how you get the 37.6, and right now they're in third place. The Soviet Union still the leader. Right now, it's time for our combination country of Cuba and the USA. From the United States, it's Jennifer Sey, and from Cuba, it'll be Raul Torres Menendez.
This is one of Jennifer's better events. Jennifer surely is a beamer. Starts out with a nice planche mount. Handstand, great flexibility. Oh, no.
That's why I don't like the beam.
It's a very
too narrow.
It's very narrow, 4 inches wide. It's a very pressure event, especially in these kind of competitions where there's it's a long process. She's a little wobbly.
Jennifer Sey enjoys tennis and cooking. She's a straight A student. And is coached at Allentown, Pennsylvania by Bill and Donna Strauss.
Flip-flop, flip-flop layout. She's a little to the side, but she held on to it. Jennifer has very pretty hand movements. If you watch her, she's very graceful. Another bobble. She's a little shaky.
Jennifer has loads of international experience. She was at the Goodwill Games in Moscow. She's been to Montreal. She has been to Japan. And, of course, all over the USA.
Back walkover, back straddle down. She should be getting ready for a dismount. Round off, double full, took a step. Pretty decent routine. She had a lot of bobbles, and she just scores decent.
Jennifer Sey, 18 years of age, born in Philadelphia.
Cuba has chosen parallel bars.
And she's still loved.
Mr. Bill Strauss giving her that welcomed hug.
Raul Torres Menendez, he competed on the high bar last time. He is going on the parallel bars this round.
Leander, look at his hands, how he's mounting. This is very different. You don't see gymnasts mount quite like this. Nice little glide kip maneuver. Giant front uprise. A straddle pirouette. These little straddling movements have been quite popular in pickleball. That was a mistake. I don't think he planned to do that, but he's made a very good cover-up. You know, of the six
now, how could you tell it was a mistake? That looked real smooth to me.
Well, it seemed like he was ready to do another trick. He was moving his hand in another direction. All of a sudden, he had to back up and go to that one bar, and he just went into that glide kick. But he did a great cover-up, and sometimes the judges won't even deduct for something like that if you do a good job at it.
Are you allowed to deduct if you think maybe he was headed in another direction?
I don't know. I don't have my judge's card. I'll have to check on that one. We'll take a look at his dismount. He's got real pretty toe point, a real extended gymnast. Nice and high above the bar. Takes a little step backwards, but he's a good gymnast. We should see a lot of him in the future.
Now, Raul Torres Menendez is teamed up with Jennifer Say. We'll take another look at her balance beam dismount.
And she does a nice high double full, but takes a step on it, and that's going to cost her a 10th, at least.
Well, all of the second round scorers have been in the 18s, and I don't think this one's going to be any different. They were currently in 6th place going into this round, Jennifer Say and Raul Torres Menendez, with a 19.1. They were 0.6 of a point off the lead.
Let's watch where Jennifer did fall, almost fall on beam. It's a beautiful front walkover. You could see her left arm was down, which caused her to fall.
That's such a difficult decision to fight or to fall at that point, because either way you're dead. And
yeah, you're right. If you
what's less graceful, you know?
You touch the side of the beam and grab hold of it, make the struggle. It's the same.
And the scores 8.95 for Jennifer.
8.95 and 19.25. You can see the second round is 18.2. 37.30. Lead down to 4th place with 2 pairs to go. We'll be back. Now this. To compete, Phoebe Mills and Scott Johnson. We saw them on vaulting and rings respectively. Right now, Phoebe Mills has elected floor exercise as her second apparatus. Phoebe Mills took a bronze medal at the 1987 American Cup. She has beaten her teammate Christy Phillips before. It is a very difficult situation for those two because they're coached by the same man. They work out in the same gym. And while it is difficult, it also pushes them to excellence.
Definitely. Christy and Phoebe fight every day in the workout.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Something we also have to remember is you had Julianne McNamara pushing you for a long while in the gym.
Yes, I did. Julianne and I trained before the Olympics, and it definitely helped each other.
And before that, Diane Durham was in the gym with you.
Diane was definitely my main competition.
So pressure every day carries over in the competition.
Yes. Phoebe starts out with the full in back somersault in the pike position. Beautiful!
She's hot.
She is hot today, Phoebe. She has really matured in her dancing also. She's starting to show off a little bit, which is nice. It gets the crowd involved.
Got a little smile from the judge over there. Never hurts.
Run off the flop. Double pike somersault. Good ending.
Puts the pressure on Scott.
Definitely. Wonder if Phoebe's thinking whether she should do the double full to be conservative or the double back. We'll see.
Knowing Bella, double full, right?
Well, I don't know.
She feels strong with. I don't know either. You know better. You work with Bella.
Well, she's running hard. I bet she goes for the double back. And she does.
Called it.
And beautiful routine by Phoebe Mills.
You should have seen Bella hit the floor when she hit the double. It's a good thing the vaulting's over with because he just dented the runway. Scott Johnson, her teammate, has a tough act to follow. Earlier, Peter spoke with Scott Johnson and asked him what his plans include after the 1988 Olympics. After all, he's been there in '84. What will he do after Seoul, Korea?
Well, I definitely want to stay involved with the sport, but not as a competitor. I'll be hanging up my grips, so to speak, after the 1988 Olympic Games are over. After that, I'd like to get involved with some coaching with the junior and senior national team programs, and maybe get involved with some activities with our sports governing body. But I just have to wait and feel out the situation. My first concern right now is the '88 Olympics.
Scott Johnson's first concern has got to be these parallel bars because nobody has hit a good P-bar routine in this second round.
That's right. Of the 6 gymnasts competing in this second round, 4 of them chose to do parallel bars. But I'm impressed with Scott's parallel bars. He's really improved. He does some really neat skills. Here's a glide kip, reverse straddle cut right up to a handstand. And there's a peach basket to a handstand, a very good one. Giant with a half turn. This is a consistent routine for Scott. Another giant, a stutz. This is packed with difficulty. And here's a front uprise, front pike straddle, 1 1/4 flip into a seat kip, straddle cut out. This is a great routine.
I think we have a tough duet here, Phoebe Mills and Scott Johnson.
I think, if anything, Phoebe's routine took the pressure off Scott. And there's a double pike. Oh, took a little step. That was about the only mistake that I saw in the routine, though.
And Phoebe Mills, we just found out, received a 9.9 for that floor exercise routine. So you're right, the pressure may have been taken off. They look very strong. Certainly after the other second round performances, they look extremely strong.
Well, this looks like a battle between the Americans now. We're going to take a look at Scott's dismount now. He presses up to a handstand, and he does a double pike flip, and he really knows how to spin. This is about the only mistake I saw in the routine. It was a little step right there. And that was about it. He's got to be happy with that.
Let's take another look at Phoebe's final pass in her floor routine. Didn't know if she was going to end with the double twist or the double back. And she goes with the double back. It's a nice high one. It's a very good landing.
19.2 is the combined total for their second, 19.70. So a 39.4 is a resounding lead for these two. They are well ahead of the Soviet Union at 38.55, who currently are in second place. Now, I said they're way out in front, but the team that's in third place has yet to compete, and that team is Christy Phillips and Brian Ginsberg. They were only 2/10 of 1 point apart. Christy Phillips and Brian Ginsberg trailed Phoebe Mills and Scott Johnson by 2/10 of a point. Christy Phillips, like Phoebe, has elected to compete at Florex.
This is Christy's favorite event, and you can see why. She's going to start out, too, with the full in-back somersault in the pike position. Oh, a little low. She almost hit her knee on the floor. But watch how Christy plays to the crowd.
And how the crowd plays to Christy.
Yes. As you can tell by the music, Bella picks it. It's very Hungarian, European-style music, which fits Christy very well.
Little trouble on the full turn.
Yeah, she went a little crooked on it. See what her second pass is. Double tuck somersault. Much better than the first. That's always a neat pass. She goes round up, flip flop to her knees, flip flop.
I always like that temper tantrum in the corner. I've seen this routine many times.
Yes. For her last pass, round up, flip flop, double back somersault. Pretty good routine for Christy. The first pass was a little low, but she should score pretty well.
Christy Phillips paired with Brian Ginsberg. Currently, they are in third place. But an interesting dilemma is only one U.S. team can go into the final round. And we have 2 in the second round.
Now we're ready
So
to
it'll
go
be either
with the
Phoebe Mills and
next
Scott Johnson or Christy Phillips and Brian Ginsberg that is allowed to advance. Right now, Brian Ginsberg is up.
Floor exercise routine. Let's welcome back Brian Ginsberg.
We saw him in the first round. He did a ring routine, and he, like Christy, is elected to do floor exercise.
Brian doesn't have the music to make his routine exciting, but he sure does make up for it with some really powerful tumbling. He's an explosive gymnast in floor exercise. Here's his mount, a run-off back handspring, double layout, took a step.
Had trouble on that first mount.
Now, you never know what Brian's going to do for his second pass. He always does something different, something real exciting. A front flip step out, run-off back handspring, full punch 1 1/4.
Brian Ginsberg, winner of the 1987 American Cup.
Nice plan. Look at that. Beautiful.
20 years of age, was born in Miami, Florida.
Front flip, punch front flip down to his knees. Now Brian's going to set up for his dismount. That's the little breathing trick right there. Catch your extra breath, wait for the bing to go off. And a double back flip. Good solid routine. I don't know if that's enough to beat Phoebe.
I don't think it will be because Christy Phillips received a 9.7 on the floor exercise routine, and already this team was trailing the other USA team by 0.2 of a point, so he'll need a bottom 11. And they don't give those out.
Nope. Let's take a look at Brian's second pass. This is kind of a fun little trick. He does a front flip walkout, and then a round off back handspring, does a layout with a full twist, then he does his punch front 1 1/4. It really changes directions fast. This has been an exciting addition to a lot of floor exercise routines, and Brian does it very well.
Let's take a look at Christy Phillips' first pass. It's where she had a little trouble.
And the
She has a
being
good run,
posted.
but it comes out of the flip-flop. Watch the flip-flop. She doesn't really take it up high enough. Doesn't get the proper rotation and ends a little short. Her knee almost touches the floor. Let's take a look at her final pass, though. She made up for it here. She, too, ended with a double back somersault, which is new for her. Double back.
Just a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen.
And she pulls it out.
The top 3, and we'll find the ranking.
The score for Christy Phillips and Brian Ginsberg in the second round is 19.4. Their total, 38.9. We'll be back to tell you who advances to the third and final round of this international mixed pairs after these important messages from our sponsor.
Get us.
To remind you how the competition advances in these international mixed pairs, only one representative from a country may advance to the final round. We had 17 pairs to begin, 6 went on to the second round, and now the 3 pairs that will advance to the final round are in first place. Phoebe Mills and Scott Johnson from the United States, Olga Strazev and Vladimir Golgoladzev from the Soviet Union are in second place, and Augustina Badia and Marian Rizan from Romania are in third. Although technically there were 2 other gymnasts from the United States that should have qualified for second, because of the rule, they are not allowed to. Earlier, Peter Vidmar had a chance to speak with Eberhard Gänger. His name sounds familiar because you hear a lot of the move Gänger on the high bar. He asked him how he developed the move.
Well, that was actually pretty easy. I saw first time Stoyan Delchev from Bulgaria perform his new skill, and when I came back from the European Championships where I saw it first, I tried to work on this one. However, I didn't succeed. I never caught the bar. I didn't complete my turn. And so finally I ended up with this skill that's called the Gänger nowadays.
Eberhard Gänger from the Federal Republic of Germany. He's also a 78 world champion, and that's where he showed.
That's right, on the horizontal bar. And we're going to see a lot of the Gänger for many years to come. Women are doing it on uneven bars. In fact, here on the horizontal bar, Scott Johnson and Vladimir Golgoladze will both do a variation of the Gänger. And
they are both competing in the high bar in this last rotation as we look now at Olga Strazev, who is getting ready to compete on uneven parallel bars. So we are going to take a commercial timeout. When we come back, the Soviet Union will be up first, followed by the USA, with the Romanians coming in third. We'll be back in just a moment. Olga Strajayev is about to compete on the uneven parallel bars. We have already seen her on the vault and the floor exercise. She and her partner Vladimir Gogoladze are from the Soviet Union. After one rotation, they were in second place. They stayed that way by virtue of the rule that two U.S. teams cannot advance. Technically, by the score, they should be in third place. They had a dismal second round. Let's see if they can regroup on the third.
This is one of her best events. Olga is so strong. Watch how high the reverse heck was. Great execution, straight arm handstands. And another release move.
And that's the Gienger.
And that's the Gienger. Women are starting to do it now.
And that seems to be the trend of the 80s, these re-grasp moves.
Yes. This is a beautiful routine. She kicked out of that double flyaway. Beautiful routine.
Well, she's certainly having a stronger third round than a second round. Olga Strajayev. And there's Eberhard Gienger, one of the judges here, judging on the horizontal bar. He said he's from the Federal Republic of Germany. We saw him at the judges' table. Now we're in the chalk bucket with Vladimir Gogoladze.
It's always flattering for, I think, Eberhard when he sees the gymnast performing that move, even now, so many years after he invented it. There are certain elements that I did that I can remember when I see another gymnast perform it. It's kind of a real compliment. Now you're going to see this element coming up. First, he's going to do two tricks called a Tkachev, right in a row. It's a Tkachev to an immediate Tkachev right there, and another one, and now here's the Gienger. Look at that. He did it so well. He's a beautiful gymnast on horizontal bar. The margin of error is so small on horizontal bar, and he did that so well. There's this required inverted giant. Now he sets up for his dismount. Giant, and a triple back flip. Oh, and he took a step. Very, very nice routine, though.
Well, the Soviet Union has worked themselves right back into this competition because Olga Strajayev has received a 9.90 for her uneven parallel bar routine.
Let's take a look now. He did his Gienger and did it right into another Gienger. Pardon me, two Tkachevs. Here comes the Gienger. Flyaway with a half turn. Here's Gogoladze's dismount. It's a triple back flip, and this is where he probably got his deduction. It's just a one big step at the very end. Boy, to think that you're spinning around there 3 times before you hit the ground. That's a lot of action.
Now, the Soviets received a 19.6 for the first round and 18.95 for the second round. And he just received a 9.8 for his routine.
19.7. And a grand total of
58.25 is what I show mathematically. 58.25 for the Soviet Union. Obviously, they're in first place because they're the only ones that have competed. And right now, Phoebe Mills and Scott Johnson are standing by. Phoebe Mills is going to go on the uneven parallel bar. Scott Johnson on the high bar.
Let's see what Phoebe can do. Nice straddle over mount. Giant with a full twisting pirouette. Very nice. To a reverse hecht. Nice. She's swinging very well. She hasn't had any major breaks yet. The giant swing. And a double pike flyweight to a beautiful dismount. Double pike.
Again, to put our scores in perspective, the Soviet Union received a 19.7 for their third round. So far, Phoebe Mills and Scott Johnson have received 19.7 for the first round, 19.7 for the second round. They want to hang on to that for the third. Phoebe Mills throws great skills.
Phoebe has some fans here.
Is it tough for Peter Vidmar for Scott Johnson to get up there after seeing a great routine by Vladimir Gogoladze?
Well, you know, what I really think is going to make it tough for Scott is that at the American Cup, Scott was leading going into this event. And it was the triple back flip, the dismount, that cost him. The whole competition went so well for him. He did a triple back flip and then took a little stumble at the very end. Now, Scott's going to do this Gienger also. He's going to do it from a one-arm giant swing, though.
I heard that Phoebe just got a 9.90, which, according to my math, says he needs an 8.95 to remain tied for the lead.
And then
certainly a 9.0.
He's just got to hold on to the bar and make sure he lands on his feet in his dismount. And here's the one-arm Ginger coming up right there. And he caught it close. That's a little bit of a deduction to catch that closely. But he probably knows that all he has to do is just hold on and make this dismount. This is where Scott needs to redeem himself, though. He made a mistake at the American Cup on it. He's got to stick with this. Here he goes. Triple backflip. Look at that. What a great landing.
Smiling all the way. You can see his teeth on their rotations.
That looks like it should do it. And here comes Scott's variation of a Ginger. He does a one-arm giant swing. Let's go. Does a flyaway with a half turn and regrabs the bar. Really close to the bar, though. You see how he had to turn his face just a little bit. Didn't want to hit it. And here's his dismount, the one that gave him trouble at the American Cup. A triple backflip. 1, 2, 3, and he lands it just right.
Oh, look at the smile.
Look at that. He's a happy guy.
He's just in Bella Caroli hugging his coach, Eddie Grossfeld. 9.0 and a 9.9 and a 9.7. So they're up to 59.00. The Romanians still to come as our mixed pairs competition draws to a close. We still have one team remaining. Stay with us. Back to the Scope Arena. I'm Leandra Riley along with Peter Vidmar and Mary Lou Redden, and we are waiting for Augustina Badia to compete on the balance beam. She is from Romania. We have already seen her on the floor exercise and on the uneven parallel bars.
Continue our final rotation. And from Romania, Augustina Badia.
Like the Chinese on bars, Romanians have a very good reputation of being very solid and very fluent on balance beam.
Augustina is 15 years of age. The 1986 Nationals, she finished second in the all-around competition.
Flip-flop, flip-flop. Back layout, step out. Very solid. She looks so comfortable up there. Another flip-flop, the half turn. Your hips have to be so square to do that move. It's very unique what she just did. She did a flip-flop with the half turn, side aerial, and a back tuck. The gymnast must go down on the beam, and that was her part. Very unique looking.
That was a scary move. Reverse push up there.
Getting to the end of the beam for her dismount.
She certainly makes you forget that it's only 4 inches wide.
Run off, flip-flop, double back. Beautiful routine. It really was.
And the third round has been a strong round for all of our competitors here in this international mixed pair competition. Marian Rizan is her partner. We have seen him on the pommel horse, on the parallel bars. And he is standing now by the still rings.
Marian didn't choose the horizontal bar like Scott and Vladimir Gogoladze. That's a flashy event. Instead, he chose an event that shows a lot of power and strength, and that's the rings. And maybe he's living up to a very strong tradition in Romania. The man that's lifting him up on the rings is Dan Greco, an Olympic medalist on the rings. Very, very powerful gymnast himself. And he's now coaching in Romania. It's Dan Greco lifting up Rizan on the rings. She goes right about that power. Back roll to a cross, back hip to an L. So Hollaback crest dancing. Got a little stuck there on the way up. Giant. Oh, and he's a little bit off. Back up rise to a handstand. This is a short routine, but there's his double layout dismount, and he took a step.
By virtue of the lead that the Soviet Union has over the Romanian team, it is more than 20 points. It is impossible for the Romanian team to move up from third to even second place. that it was an exciting competition between the United States and the Soviet Union. And it certainly sent out a warning to everyone that the United States has some bright stars in its stable.
Well, that's right. This is an important year. We have the 1987 World Championships coming up in Rotterdam. And these gymnasts really are getting ready for that. And Scott's looking forward to competing there.
So 87 is a banner year not only for the World Championships, but we have the Pan American Games in the United States. And we've already had the American Cup. And, of course, the Olympics are about a year and a half away from now. So
things don't slow down, that's for sure.
Where were you a year and a half before the Olympics in your gymnastics training? Were you happy? Did you know you were on the road to the Olympic team and a gold medal performance?
I think that I was as prepared as I could expect to be at that time. It's hard to say that you're ready for a gold medal. I don't think anybody's ever ready for a gold medal. But we're training hard. We felt really good about our gymnastics. And mine was just starting to fall into place.
How about you, Mary Lou? A year and a half ahead of time?
I was just beginning. That's when I moved to Houston, Texas, and I had to, like Peter said earlier, cram everything into about 2 years.
All right, as I said, mathematically it is impossible for the Romanian team to overtake first or even second place for that matter, so it's a moot point what their score is. We will get that to you as soon as we know it. But you're looking now at the young face of Phoebe Mills. She is coached by Bella Caroli. She is half of the winning pair of Scott Johnson and Phoebe Mills. 1987 mixed pair champion. We'll be back with a recap, but first, a word from our sponsors. The competition has concluded at the Scope Arena. The United States team of Phoebe Mills and Scott Johnson has claimed the gold for the 1987 International Mixed Pairs. Their score, 59 out of a possible 60. In second place, the team from the Soviet Union with a 58.25. And in third, the tandem from Romania with a 57.30. Incidentally, in that final rotation, the Soviet Union received a 19.10 for their third and final performance. Right now, though, the story is the gold medal that Phoebe Mills and Scott Johnson have clinched. So let's go now to our gold medal announcing team of Peter Vidmar and Mary Lou Retton, who are standing by with our champions.
Well, Phoebe, you did it. You had a tremendous competition. Last week, you had a little bobble on beam, and which caused you to place third in American Cup. What did you do different tonight? You had a tremendous meet.
Well, tonight I went out with a lot of confidence, and I just hit all my routines really solid, and so that's what gave me the first place.
Well, you sure did. In my opinion, that was the best bar set I've ever seen you do. How do you feel about it? Did you feel it was your best?
My bars felt really, really good. I got the highest score, 9.9, that I've ever done, and so that shows it must have been a little bit better than before.
It certainly was. It has improved greatly. Congratulations on first place.
Thank you.
And Scott, you were in the same company as Phoebe. You were third at the American Cup also last week. And however, you're in an unusual situation. On that last event, the horizontal bar, you did a triple backflip and had some problems. Tell me about it.
That's right. The American Cup, I was doing a real good horizontal bar routine, but on my dismount, I over-rotated it and rolled out of it. So today, I knew that, you know, I wanted to do it again. I wanted to redeem myself. I knew that it's a pretty consistent routine for me, and if I hit it well, I was going to score high. So I just wanted to do it. I just had to prove it to myself, and it worked out real good.
It sure did. So what's the first thing you're going to do as soon as this interview's done?
I'm going to go call my wife.
That's great. Well, Phoebe, Scott, congratulations. You did a great job, and we're looking forward to great things in 1987 and on through to the 1988 Olympics.
So Phoebe Mills and Scott Johnson vindicate a couple of bronze medal performances at the American Cup and come home with the gold from the mixed pairs competition. Peter, Mary Lou, and I will be back after a moment with some final thoughts. But first, we're going to have this final timeout.